Boyfriend placed camera in bedroom vent. Need your advice on how to get over the trauma that I have experienced from my now ex-boyfriend placing a camera in my bedroom vent overlooking my bed. He watched live, screenshotted videos, and I found out 7 months after he placed it in there. I also want to add that I originally found a tracker on my car that was in place for 7 months also, and found the camera 2 days later. But he was not charged with the tracker, only the camera in my vent. You could press charges or sue civilly. He was arrested, waiting on the final verdict. Lots of court dates in the past 5 months. I'm so sorry this happened to you. This is an incredible betrayal and violation. In addition to therapy, which many people have recommended, I would advise you to take good care of yourself, get enough sleep, eat well, etc. And confide in a couple people you can rely on, such as your mom if you're close to her and a close friend, for example. Additionally, and I know this might sound strange, but maybe try getting into a new hobby you've always wanted to do. I'm just speaking from my own traumatic experience and it might not be for you, but I found getting into a new hobby allowed me to invest in myself, learn and enjoy something new that wasn't associated in any way, shape, or form with the traumatic thing, and kind of fall in love with life again after life had thrown me such a bad curveball. If anyone is looking for a new hobby that can be soothing, I would like to recommend diamond paintings. It is like a color by numbers, except involves pressing sequins in place onto a sticky poster. Most pieces you get online include everything needed to complete, including the sequins, although obviously check the description. A breach of an area that should be safe for you is an extremely traumatic issue, let alone coupling it with a betrayal of a loved one. Most likely this is an issue you need to take up with a therapist. How do you feel in the room now? Does it feel unsafe? Maybe avoid being in there for more than you need to for the time being. Or if doesn't feel unsafe, try doing more activities in there to help take back that space and create new memories for it. Without more to go on, I don't know what to suggest for help with mitigating the trauma. The biggest thing is to try not to reinforce the trauma. Like others said, I would at least consult with your local PD. Laws about cameras in personal spaces vary greatly, especially if one or both parties are co-signers on a lease or housing documents. But they can help point you in the right direction, including support services for your county. Cops were called and he was arrested on a Class 4 felony. Still going through all the legal court dates. Waiting on what happens. I have seen a therapist for what happened to me. I am waiting to get back to work so I can sell my condo and move out of the area and buy a house. My condo does not feel like home anymore. I'm so sorry. What an incredible breach of trust. I'm so glad he's your ex. If you have proof, you could also report him. Have you looked into therapy? I have talked to a therapist about what happened to me. That was one of the first things I did. Let me start by saying I'm so sorry you were violated in such an intensely personal, creepy, and traumatic way by someone you once loved and trusted. It's good you're pursuing justice in the courts. Now, you have to reconcile it emotionally. I understand you are seeing a therapist for this. Please ensure that she/he has great credentials as a clinician and is trauma trained. If you don't bond with a therapist, keep searching. You must develop a secure and trusting relationship in order to do the hard work and heal from such a betrayal. You may want to see a therapist who is familiar with EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, where you can access and process traumatic memories. You may want to reach out to supportive organizations or women's groups. Reach out to RAIN.org, which focuses on sexual assault, because that's what this is. I wish you peace and a lasting recovery. EMDR is an excellent option. Should I ask my BF to contribute more money for grocery and utilities? My BF earns more than I do, but he doesn't know that, as I've never really disclosed how much I earn while he already did. A month ago, my roommate moved out and he offered to move in with me so I can still split the cost of rent. We agreed to split everything in half. However, our grocery bill, utilities and food expenditure skyrocketed. I can't keep up with his lifestyle of eating out thrice a week and all the grocery stuff he wants. My electricity bill also went 4x higher because he'd use the AC 10 hours a day whilst I used to just use it for only 2 to 3 hours. we're in a tropical country. These are expenses I wouldn't have had he not moved in, as I'm very prudent and cheap. I don't want to straight up ask him for more money, but I think it's just fair. How can I have this conversation without sounding demanding? Edit, just to add, we've been dating for only 3 months, acquaintances for a year, so we're still on the getting to know each other phase and don't want to turn him off. You need to be forthcoming about it. Tell him straight, I don't earn as much as you, I'm out of pocket now because you eat more than me. You can afford to eat out a few times a week, I can only afford once a week. The utilities and groceries have increased a fair bit, you need to put in more money to cover the increase. These kinds of things should be discussed early and often in relationships. You don't want to turn him off, but wouldn't you rather have a reasonable and fair boyfriend than someone who is okay inconveniencing you? Bring it up. If he's reasonable about it, you know he's a good partner. I mean, you basically already have something here. My grocery bill, utilities and food expenditure skyrocketed. I can't keep up with his lifestyle of eating out thrice a week and all the grocery stuff he wants. My electricity bill also went 4x higher because he'd use the AC 10 hours a day whilst I used to just use it for only 2 to 3 hours. We're in a tropical country. These are expenses I wouldn't have had he not moved in, as I'm very prudent and cheap. Don't want to straight up ask him for more money, but think it's just fair. I think Hop knows this entire line might be presented as an attack. I would suggest telling him in a nicer manner that his own standard of living is more than what you were previously dealing with, and politely asking him if it's okay that he contributes more. If you are keeping track of expenses, I would just be honest with him about your own income in the same conversation and tell him the lifestyle change is hitting you harder. Communicate honestly with him in an environment where he is not distracted. No TV or other distractions. Tell him that you're concerned about the food bill and electricity bill, etc., and you simply can't afford to keep up with his current lifestyle. Explain what has happened as you have done in your post. Have a grown-up and courageous discussion about how to sort this out together. It was way too early to move in your boyfriend. If you're not comfortable telling him how much you make, splitting expenses 50-50 is a bad idea. If he was another roommate, how would you deal with it? Guy, M26, I, F25, was going out with has a GF, and when she found out he cheated, he said it was my fault. This is my first post in here, so please excuse me if I make any mistakes. I've been trying to forget about this issue, but it's driving me crazy. Around November to December of last year, I got approached by this guy on Instagram. I didn't know who he was at the time, but after looking at his profile I realized we worked at the same company and that we had a lot of mutual followers. So I continued talking to him. After talking for a couple of weeks, we decided to meet in person and we had a great time. We agreed to keep talking and meet again. It was around January when, during texting, I jokingly said that if he sent me his address I would Uber to his place so we could hang out, and he replied, if I lived on my own I would definitely have you over. I wasn't until later that day when I realized that when we met he said he moved out of his parents' house after he started working. So if he didn't live with them, who was he living with? I didn't ask him because I didn't want to look desperate or nosy, so I ignored it. Big mistake. We met 2 more times after that, and the last time we met, around February, he asked me if he could film us having sex. I said no, but he insisted on taking pictures and I reluctantly agreed. After dropping me off at my apartment he texted me one of the pictures he took that day, which was a picture of him in his underwear. The picture didn't show his face or anything else. It was literally just a picture of his torso. I thanked him for dropping me off, and after that I stopped texting him since I didn't feel comfortable anymore. I completely forgot about him until yesterday morning when I woke up to a phone call. It was him. When I picked up he angrily asked me why I did such a horrible thing. I had literally just woken up and said I didn't know what he was talking about. Then he said, someone sent my girlfriend the picture I texted you last time we met. You are literally the only person that has that picture, so why did you send it to her? I was literally so shocked I didn't know what to do. I was suspicious about it, but I never really confirmed he had a GF, and I obviously didn't send the picture to her, or anybody else for that matter. I told him all this and also said I didn't even know who his GF was. He kept insisting that I was the only person with the picture and that it was obvious he had a GF all this time and that he was sure I knew about it. I got angry and told him I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about and that I was offended about everything he was accusing me of. After a while, he apologized and said, "I guess I'll have to believe you. But I can't find any other explanation. Either you did it or maybe she unlocked my phone and went through my recently deleted folder. But that is very unlikely. I have been with her this whole time and my life is over right now. I can't find any will to live. Are you sure you didn't send the picture deliberately for her to find out and leave me?" After he said that, I got so angry I started crying. I literally had found out about his relationship a few minutes ago and now he was blaming me about his GF finding out and leaving him. Told him that it wasn't my fault that he threw his relationship away and decided to cheat, and if I had known from the beginning he was with someone else I would have never agreed to go out with him. I told him his unfaithfulness wasn't my fault and that he knew what he was doing the whole time, unlike me or his GF. He apologized and hung up after that. We obviously haven't talked ever since, but I feel awful about everything. I feel guilty for ignoring the red flags and for wanting to believe that he was a good guy. I know it isn't my fault, but I feel really bad about him implying that it's because of me his girlfriend left him. I know it isn't my relationship and that I should care, but how do I stop feeling this way? If you made it this far, thanks for reading. Too long didn't read. Went out with a guy 3 times, turns out he had a girlfriend the whole time and he literally blames me for her finding out, her leaving him, and suggests that was the one who told her all about it when I really didn't even know she existed. What a trash bag. You have nothing to be guilty for. It's him that should be ashamed of himself for lying to and manipulating 2 innocent people. I would be so damn angry if someone called me up just to put that crazy on me. I'm so sorry you were put in this situation. You did nothing wrong. You were wronged by him. In no way is this your fault. You were misled. That must feel terrible. You need to tell him that you've done nothing wrong and he needs to cease any contact with you. Then focus on yourself. I can't imagine how bad something like this might make you feel. It's okay to reach out to friends or family or a professional about this. It was really wrong what he did to you. I hope you can find peace soon. Ghost him. Ghost him so hard he thinks there's something strange in the neighborhood. He's living the very definition of play stupid games, win stupid prizes here. He was, now, in a relationship and chose to pursue things with you. He specifically didn't say he was dating someone else, by the sounds of it, and now he's been caught out by his girlfriend for trying to have a second girl on the side. Remove him from your present, so you can enjoy a better future with a better, and not otherwise committed man. Okay, none of this is your fault at all, but how you feel better is this. Sit down and write a list of the red flags. Under each one, write how you wish you had responded / steps you could have taken. Write a letter you'll never send, to him, telling him what a complete asshole he is, how he made you feel, and that you totally reject his attempt at blaming you for his choices. Block him on everything. Look into a mirror and tell yourself sincerely, I made a mistake, but it was understandable. I'm not going to hold it over myself. I give myself permission to learn from this experience and to move on from it.